Akalapa was the pride of Alace village. A man whose name carried weight in every corner of the land. A police officer stationed in the nearby city, he was known for his discipline, fairness, and quiet strength. Each time his motorcycle roared down the dusty road leading to the village, children ran after him shouting, "Uncle Akilapa has come." He brought sweets for them, gifts for his mother, and kola nuts for the elders. The villagers often said, "Even if you wake Alace from its sleep, it will rise to greet Akilapa." At 40, Akilapa had achieved what many men in the village dreamed of. A stable job, a good house, and respect from all. He was tall, with calm eyes that seemed to read people's hearts, but behind his strength was a man who longed for one thing: love. Everyone expected him to marry a woman from the village, but fate had written a different story for him. One humid afternoon in the city. During a police patrol, Akilapa met Abeni, a soft-spoken young woman who sold food near the station. Her laughter was gentle, her steps light, and her spirit peaceful. She was in her early 20s, the daughter of a trader. Akilapa found himself returning to her shop more often than necessary, sometimes just to palm wine and hear her voice. Their friendship grew into love. Quiet, sincere, and unexpected people whispered about the age difference. But love doesn't listen to gossip. When Akilapa looked at Abeni, he saw the peace he had searched for all his life. A year later, Abeni became pregnant. Akilapa was overjoyed. "You have given me a reason to live," he told her. He took her to his family home in Alace to introduce her to his people. But what awaited them? There was not the warm welcome he hoped for. When they arrived at the family compound, the atmosphere was cold. Akilapa's mother sat quietly under the mango tree, her eyes heavy with worry. But it was his younger brother, Adul, who broke the silence. "This girl," Adul said, eyeing Abeni with disdain, "is too young for you, brother. You have brought shame to this family." Akilapa frowned. "Love does not shame a man, Adul. It completes him." Adul smirked. "Then remember this day: as long as I breathe, your marriage will never stand." His words hung in the air like a curse. Despite the warning, Akilapa went ahead with the marriage. The villagers gathered, danced, and sang as they celebrated the union of the respected officer and his beautiful young bride. For a while, happiness filled their home. Abeni gave birth to 2 children, a boy, John, and a girl, Sharon. But peace, like a restless bird, never stays long when envy watches nearby. At first, their home was filled with laughter. Akilapa often returned from duty to find Abeni singing while bathing the children under the moonlight. But slowly, things began to change. Abeni started complaining of hearing whispers and voices calling her name at night. Sometimes she saw shadows moving behind her, even when no one was there. "Maybe it's the city noise still in your head," Akilapa told her, trying to comfort her. But the whispers grew louder. Then came the sleepless nights, the sudden screams, the tears. One morning, Abeni sat outside the house laughing hysterically, talking to people who weren't there. The villagers gathered, whispering among themselves. "She has run mad," someone muttered. "Maybe the gods are angry," another added. Akilapa's heart broke. He carried her to herbalists, prophets, and healers, but nothing worked. Eventually, on his mother's advice, he took her back to her own mother's house in the next town. It was the hardest decision of his life. Loneliness crept into Akilapa's house like evening fog. He missed the laughter of his children, the warmth of his wife's voice. After a few years, his colleagues persuaded him to remarry. "A man like you should not live alone," they said. That's how he met Yedunda, a young woman who looked almost like Abeni, with the same bright eyes, same gentle smile, She seemed kind, patient, and willing to love his children. For a time, peace returned. Yudunde cooked, cleaned, and even helped the children with their studies. But slowly her sweetness turned bitter. She became irritable, demanding, and proud. She shouted at the children for small mistakes, and sometimes refused to give them food. Still, Akilapa remained quiet, too tired to argue. One bright Sunday afternoon, the children returned from school earlier than usual. They pushed open the front door and froze in their father's bedroom. Yetunda lay in another man's arms. The scene burned into their minds. When Yeda noticed them, she jumped up, her face twisting with fury. "If you ever tell your father what you saw," she hissed, "I will kill you both." The children trembled that night. They couldn't sleep. Tears soaked their pillows, but fear sealed their lips. Days turned into months, months into years. Yedunda continued her deceit, while their father remained blind to her betrayal. Meanwhile, Abeni's condition worsened before it got better. She wandered the streets, sometimes speaking to herself, picking leaves, and laughing at invisible figures. But one day her mother took her to a traditional healing center deep in the forest. There, healers used herbs, prayers, and fasting to cleanse her spirit. For months, she was kept away from the noise of the world. Slowly, the fog in her mind began to clear. Her laughter returned, this time genuine. Her eyes found peace again. After 10 years of silence and struggle, Abeni was finally well. Back in the city, Idunde's wickedness grew. Akilapa, now older and weary, began to notice her latter night movements, secret phone calls, and coldness. He didn't confront her, but his heart knew the truth. 2 years after his retirement, Akilapa returned to a lace village to live a quiet life. He planted yams, kept goats, and spent his evenings telling stories to children. But one afternoon, while tending to his small farm, he suddenly fell. When he woke up, the world was dark. His sight was gone. Doctors called it glaucoma. The villagers called it fate. Within months, his memory began to fade as well. He would forget faces, names, even his own children sometimes. Yejund, overwhelmed by his sickness, eventually left without a word. When news reached Abeni, she packed her things and returned. She found Akilapa sitting quietly on the veranda, blind and frail. His once proud shoulders now bent with age. Without hesitation, she took over his care. Day by day, Abeni became his eyes. She fed him, bathed him, and guided his hands when he reached for things. Sometimes, she sang softly while fanning him in the evenings, the same song she used to sing when they were young. The children watched their mother with quiet admiration. They remembered the years she lost to madness and how love had now turned her into their father's lifeline. But caring for Akilapa took a toll. She barely ate or slept. Slowly, the same signs that once haunted her began to return. Long murmurs to herself, laughter at nothing, and sudden silence. Then came a letter Nawaz from Adawal, his brother who never supported the marriage. He demanded that Akilapa be brought back to the family compound. He must not die outside his father's land, the letter said. Fear filled Abeni's heart. The last time they obeyed Adawal's will, madness followed, but she was too weak to resist. Together with her children, she took Akilapa back to Alais. A few months after they arrived, Akilapa's health worsened. He spoke little, smiled less, and on one cold night, under the whispering palm trees, he took his last breath. The whole village mourned. Even Adawal wept at the funeral, though no one knew whether it was guilt or sorrow that wet his cheeks. After the burial, Abeni sat alone beside the grave for hours. The children tried to comfort her, but her mind had drifted again. She spoke softly to the wind as if answering Akilapa's voice from the other side. In the weeks that followed, she began to wander the village at dusk, singing songs of love and heartbreak. The villagers pitied her, calling her the woman who loved too deeply. Years passed and her children cared for her the best they could. Some nights she would sit under the moon and whisper, "Love is a blessing, but it can also be a burden too heavy to carry." As Abeni roams the village, her mind lost between the past and present, one question remains in every listener's heart. Will Nemesis catch up with Edul, the brother who planted the seed of pain? Or will Abeni live the rest of her life, believing this is the destiny written for her?